After stumbling to a 2-3 record on their recent 5-game homestand, the Warriors take their show on the road to play 3 games in 4 nights, beginning in the city of brotherly love. They'll take on the Philadelphia 76ers, who's had their fair share of injuries as well. The Dubs overall have lost 5 of their last 7, and tonight they will be without their top 2 scorers against the Sixers here. We welcome everybody to Warriors Pregame Live, presented by Comcast Business, with NBA champion Festus Ezeli, my brother from another mother, Rod Brooks. I am Bonte Hill, and it's next man up for the Golden State Warriors tonight. No Steph, no Jimmy. A lot of guys need to step up.
Well, you got to build on the momentum from last game, Bonte. The next man up mentality is Seth comes into the game, D'Anthony Melton comes into the game. Any of the guys that come in, you got to make an impact and fill in for the voids they're missing tonight.
And plenty of minutes available for guys. As you see Steph there, he will not travel. He did not travel with the Warriors, I should say, on this road trip. Hopefully he'll be back next Friday against Minnesota, but against the East Coast swing, Tyrese, Maxey, VJ, Edgecombe, the Warriors need to get their game right, Rod.
Well, you know, good news is it's a quickie 3-game road trip, and Cleveland out of the 3 is the best team. But do not sleep on Philly or Chicago. You might look at their records and go, they're beatable. If you don't take care of business, if you're sloppy, both of those squads will be trouble for you.
But how about this? He's only played in 44 games in the last 2 seasons. D'Anthony Melton is back, folks. Man. We'll break down the newfound backcourt depth next on Warriors Pregame Live. Business, look at D'Anthony Melton. He's warming up, folks. You know why? Because he will make his season debut for the Warriors tonight. Remember last season, he tore his ACL. And he played in only 6 games for the Dubs, and he got a little small sample size of what he could do with this roster. A two-way player, can hit the three-point shot, point of attack defense. He will be on a minute restriction, as Steve Kerr mentioned. He'll play about 20 minutes tonight, but that is great news for the Golden State Warriors. They've been waiting on him, of course. The bad news is Steph will be out this entire road trip. He did not travel with the Dubs. Get right, Steph. Jimmy Butler out with left knee soreness. He did not play in the second half. Tuesday night against Oklahoma City. He's had a fantastic season. And Jonathan Kuminga and Al Horford are both game-time decisions. Good news is Quentin Post and Trace Jackson-Davis are available for the bigs, and it'll be good to see if J.K. and Al Horford can go. But Melton will make his season debut tonight, and another addition to this backcourt, Rod.
Yeah, you mentioned it. Shot making, defending. What I love that he's going to bring a ball handler, a true ball handler on this team. And that means less ball handling for Brandon Podziemski, less ball handling from Moses Moody. And those are 2 guys that could struggle at times. Give them a little bit less to do, a little bit less on their plate. They can concentrate on other things that they're good at and add to the value of this team.
I'll go the defensive way. D'Anthony Melton raises the defensive ceiling of the Warriors. You need a point of attack defender. You got that in him, a guy who can pick up 94 feet. Mm-hmm. I think that size, that length, that athleticism, in addition to playmaking, just gives the Warriors a different style. But I've taken a step further. You got competition now at the guard position. Ooh. All right? There's Pods. There's Pat Spencer's playing well. But now with D'Anthony Melton coming in, I think that competition is going to breed, it's going to make guys a little bit tighter. It's going to be a sense of urgency. And it's just going to make guys, the decision-making is going to get tightened up a little bit.
And can I add one word to, I guess the whole get down, but definitely defensively, toughness. We've talked over and over again, and Draymond and Jimmy have mentioned it specifically, making the opposition feel the Warriors defensively. I think D'Anthony Melton can be the tip of the spear for the Warriors trying to do that.
I know what it's like to come back after an injury. I know what he's feeling right now. All right, you got the butterflies. It's kind of like you get to be a young guy again on the floor. But for the Warriors, you get to have a new player to your roster. It's like a mid-season trade for you. Having a point guard that can handle the ball, take care of the ball, no turnovers. You have a defender out there, a guy that can create shots and opportunities for guys. This is a great addition for the Warriors at this point because you're missing Steph and you're missing that primary ball handler.
Yeah, let's speak about that. They're shorthanded on this 3-game road trip, as I mentioned before. Steph did not travel with the team on this East Coast swing, so guys have to step up. But Festus, you mentioned this on our pre-show call earlier this morning. They can take away a lot from that second half against Oklahoma City. Mm-hmm. Down 19 right at the half. Down 22 early in that third quarter. They make a rally with guys. When Draymond Green picked up his 4th foul, Jimmy was out in that second half. So, as you mentioned, Seth Curry, Pat Spencer, Pods play well in that game. Hopefully they could bottle that up and bring that on the East Coast.
That second half was beautiful, Bonte. You said it perfectly. No Steph, no Jimmy, no Draymond due to foul trouble, and still the bench was able to get stops. They were able to run. They were able to make buckets on the other end, which you think that you'll struggle with without Steph in the game. So I think that that's a confidence raiser for this team. They're going on the road after playing that second half, feeling like they let one slip against Oklahoma City, telling them who's the best team in the league.
The second half, the ball was moving. They weren't turning it over and they were getting to the paint. Specifically, Pat Spencer was getting into the paint. We could say this till we're blue in the face because it's true. Good things happen when you get 2 feet in the paint. You're either going to finish or the ball gets out. It starts to swing. The opposing defense, they get confused. They get in scramble mode. And if you got somebody out there who can make shots, like Seth Curry, things can happen for you.
Yeah, GP2 played well in that third quarter as well. 44 points in that third frame, the most points scored against Oklahoma City in a quarter. But you guys keep bringing up Pat Spencer as it's time for some teamwork in action presented by our great friends at Kaiser Permanente. Thanks to Seth Curry and Pat Spencer, the Warriors staged a valiant comeback against the defending world champion Oklahoma City Thunder Tuesday night. And here's what let's kick it off with him. Here's what he had to say after he's tied a career high with 17 points.
How impressive was it to see Seth come out and look so comfortable after missing the last 6 weeks?
Yeah, it's in his blood. He's always been a shooter, man. So, he's got the green light to shoot it from anywhere on the floor, just like his brother. We have full confidence it's going in. We were just catching up after. I said, it has to feel good. I know that feeling too, getting some DNPs and sitting out. There's no better feeling than being able to get to lace them up and get out there and get after it.
Seth, what can you say about Pat Spencer's game tonight? And from your vantage point, first time playing with him, is it surprising that he's a two-way player still?
He's a basketball player, man. He's one of those guys, you throw him out there. He looks different when he touches the floor. I was saying some stuff this last year. When he gets out the floor, it looks different from everybody else on the roster as far as he's a basketball player. He puts the ball on the floor. He can do a little bit of everything. So me and him, we got a nice little flow out there, driving, kicking, being aggressive, and it's good to see him get out there and get some extended minutes and play good basketball.
Seth Curry as well. He played like he's been on this roster for 10 years. He knew exactly where to be.
He's been watching this team for a long time.
I
got to get some of that.
Right. Absolutely. As we connect, courtesy of Comcast Business, every connection counts with the great KB, Garrett Birkin. You heard his voice. Petaluma's finest Dalton Johnson asking Seth Curry that question. KB, this is a good problem to have. More players who can hit some shots and get 2 feet in the paint.
We got to add this up because if you scan the Warriors roster, they have 10 guards right now. Okay, you've got Steph, LJ Cryer, not really in the mix, but how about 8 guards right now in competition for playing time, for a starting role? Whoa. Okay, Steve Kerr likes guard lineups, but this is a bit much. And then when it comes to another name that keeps popping up as a guy who deserves time, it's Pat Spencer, and we got a glimpse why versus the Thunder.
Yeah, Pat Spencer, I think that he kicked the Warriors into hyperdrive in that third quarter. You saw the pace. And that's what you need against a defense like the Thunder. He didn't let the Thunder get into their historically great defense, let them get set. Mm-hmm. And I felt like Pat Spencer, the way he plays, he pushes the pace, but he does it smartly too. You give him an angle, he's going to go. He's not going to hesitate. He's going to get into the paint as the group's been talking about right now. And then it's either I'm going to get to my spot, make one of these kind of shots like he's playing horse in the backyard right now over Chet Holmgren. What's going on?
7-footer.
Yeah, or he's going to kick it out and keep the ball going. But unfortunately for Pat Spencer, when you talk about the gluttony of guards right now that Steve Kerr gets a pick from, he is the technical odd man out because he's still somehow on a two-way contract. So he's capped at 50 games that you're active. That's not playing. That's just being active. Yeah. He has been active for all 22 games so far. Most likely, he's going to start to get inactive. But Pat Spencer deserves a spot, I believe, on this 15-man roster, and he does things that a lot of other guys can learn from and that this team needs now and in the future.
Well, and as we look at all of these guards, too, lots of excitement to see what Seth Curry could do. We got a glimpse of that when he debuted against the Thunder. Also, what DeAnthony Melton can do tonight. Although I was appreciative of Draymond Green saying, just pump the brakes a little bit. He's a guy coming off an ACL. Only played in those 6 games, only last season, only started 2 of them. So whenever we talk about Melt, it's all about the potential. So what are you looking forward to seeing as far as the way that he lands with the team?
Well, I completely agree with Draymond as far as pump the brakes. Let's slow down some expectations. It's been literally a year to the date since he got that ACL surgery. Yeah. But when I think about DeAnthony Melton, I think about those 2 starts. Oklahoma City and what was then a very good Dallas Mavericks team. He had 19 and 10 with 3 steals against OKC. That's the two-way ability that he brings. Then his last game was Klay Thompson's first game back here. Yeah. He had 14, 4 and 4 with a steal. Two-way ability again. Let's give him 10-plus games next to Steph. That's what I want to see. Because when he's healthy, he is the best complement next to Steph Curry. And when it comes to the group of guards, it's all about the integrity of each game and understanding matchups and who's a hot hand for that given game.
Yeah, well, and I want to see his potential next to Steph, but unfortunately, we know it can't be on this road trip, so we have to wait just a little bit. But something fun for Melts, debuting this season against one of his old teams, the Sixers.
No doubt about that. Remember that big three against the Dallas Mavericks from the top of the key late in that game? It was a lot of fun there. But don't raise the bar too high early on Melton. I agree with KB and Dalton there. But when we talk about Steph, what about Steph and Clay? Where do they rank among the greatest backcourts of all time? Stay tuned.
Our conversation today, right? Because when I think about who's going to feast tonight, I think about Pat Spencer, our guy from the last game. The Warriors are going to need his playmaking, his hard nose, his ability to create plays for his teammates. And what I saw that last game, this right here was being cool and calm under pressure. All right? Pat is a big guard. His ability to get into the teeth of the defense, this is what the Warriors need right now. What I saw in that second half is the fact that the Warriors have the pieces that they need. They just need to find an organizer, somebody to get everybody in order and somebody to get them great shots. And then somebody to run and put them in position, take care of the ball. All these things Pat Spencer brings to the game. I'm hoping that he builds on that momentum tonight.
It's not an accident. We talked about it earlier in the show. You guys talked about it after the game a couple of nights ago. It's not an accident the Warriors came back in that game when Pat Spencer got into the game and got into the paint. Good things happen when you get into the paint. But I love watching Pat Spencer not only because of that. He has like a molecular understanding of the flow and the feel of the game. When he gets in there, does it need to be sped up? Does it need to be slowed down? His understanding of that while sitting on the bench and watching the game, I think is extraordinary. And when he does get into the paint, if he's calling his own number, he always finishes. Always finishes. Never missed layups. It's never bad shots. Just his understanding of how to play the game and the actual physicality of playing the game. Got to give that dude all the credit in the world. And hopefully that leads to more crunch time minutes.
That's right.
Didn't know he had that fadeaway over Chet Holmgren, man. That was dirt.
He pulled out the dirt, baby.
By the way, you brought up Pat Steaks. I like Jim, Steve's, Prince's Steaks, Angelo's of South Philly.
You know your spot. I thought you said you didn't like Philly.
I love their food. Been there a few times. Cannot stand their fans. However, bad news for the Dubs, right? Joel Embiid, he's been in and out the lineup there. He's been dealing with injuries over the last few years, but he is available tonight against the Golden State Warriors. Paul George will be out as the front end of a back-to-back for Philadelphia. Our old friend Kelly Oubre, he's out tonight for the Philadelphia 76ers.
They want you.
Kane, he is available, but let's hear from Nick Nurse, the head coach of the Sixers, on how Tyrese Maxey can get to the rim.
I mean, obviously he is getting there quite a bit. I think he's showing some variety. You know, it's not always the right side, right hand, right? I think that's one thing. There's some reverse, there's some left hand, there's some floaters mixed in there too. So I think he's making some good decisions on where he sees the opening. You know, sometimes it's all the way, sometimes it isn't quite all the way, sometimes it's the other side of the hoop, all that kind of stuff. I think that is helping him a lot.
All right, that vintage backcourt by the Philadelphia 76ers reminding me of Allen Iverson. There it is. Maybe he'll be at the game tonight. Tyrese Maxey in that backcourt alongside rookie VJ Edgecombe. We'll touch on them in just a moment. Quentin Grimes lit up the Warriors last season for 44 points. Do not leave him open. Dominic Barlow and Joel Embiid in the front court, but let's focus on Tyrese Maxey. He's a young, budding superstar who's averaging over 32 points a game. He can hit the three, he can drive, he can attack. He's one of the quicker guards in the league, and he's a budding superstar, Fezzi.
Off of a pick and roll, this is one of the most dangerous players in the NBA. Young, fast, attacks the paint. He can hit that shot if you need him to. But man, what I love about him is the way he plays in the open court. He's one of the best finishers, and the Warriors got to make sure they take care of the ball because on every steal, he's running and trying to go get a bucket.
You know, everything he does is what the Warriors have problems with. And what's going to be interesting tonight is if the Warriors put their focus on Maxey which they should, how do they handle when he gives up the ball? Does that get the Warriors in the scramble mode? Do they then overhelp and then all of a sudden there's somebody open on the other side of the court because they can't recover? He puts so much stress on what you want to do defensively that he's getting to that point where he's not just a bucket. There's times he's unguardable because he's good from basically any spot on the floor.
And in the crunch time, he is phenomenal. I think last game in the third quarter, he had 14 points. Like, this kid right here can really go. And him in tandem with Jared McCain, VJ Edgecombe, I mean, this is the Warriors' pain point, the ability to guard guards. And those guys, once you have to stop them every time coming off a pick and roll, because if you don't stop them, they're going to keep going until they get to the rim. If you do stop them, they have shooters on the wings, and that's where the Warriors' defense is going to get tested tonight.
88% free throw shooter, only 25 years old. Hard to believe that he's been in this league for 6 years now. Tyrese Maxey, he's a perennial all-star now. You better pay attention to him. But VJ Edgecombe, the rookie out of Baylor, look, he's averaging nearly 15 points per game. And you want to talk about speed and first steps? You know all about this guy, Fezzi.
This is an athlete right here, athlete supreme. His first step off a pick and roll, this is right here. If you have to guard him on a one-on-one ISO matchup, but you also have to guard him in a pick and roll. He plays so well off the ball. He plays well on the ball defensively. Like, this is a young star, and you've seen him put up incredible baskets, incredible points on the board this year.
I mean, we see the footage. He's really good at getting to the rack. He's looking to catch bodies, and that's another guy. If he breaks the paint, do the Warriors get discombobulated? Do they go into scramble mode? And all of a sudden you find McCain in the corner. All of a sudden the ball gets back to Maxey. And we know he's dangerous from any spot on the floor. And we've seen far too many times this season where the Warriors allow, let's just say, unheralded guys to put up big numbers, to put up season highs. I would hate for the Warriors' sake for VJ Edgecombe to be like Reece Sheppard was a couple of nights ago when the Rockets came to town, where the Warriors just at times lost a guy that is far too dangerous to not be paid attention to.
Yeah, you got to play. This is one of those games where you got to play great one-on-one defense because you have a three-guard front. They're going to pick and roll you to death the whole time, and you have to play well, rotate out to shooters. This is one of those. You also got to be physical. VJ is going to get offensive rebounds. He's going to hustle. He's going to try to get steals. This is how they get their offense going, the Philadelphia 76ers.
Before we take a look at the odds, Philly's 11-9, ninth place in the Eastern Conference, just 5 games out of first. What should the expectation be for them this season? It feels like the Eastern Conference is wide open. I know Detroit's off to a hot start, 17-5, but if Embiid is right, and if Paul George is right,
are they healthy?
You know, if they're healthy.
If Joel Embiid is healthy, he's the best big man in the NBA. So with him, if that's the case, they have championship aspirations. The problem is Joel hasn't been healthy in 2 years. So struggling with his knees, Paul George coming back, they're up and down trying to figure out. They're actually just staying afloat right now. So what their ceiling is, as I see them currently, Bonte, is just making it to the playoffs. If those guys are healthy, then they have championship aspirations.
I mean, excellent guard play, athletic, they can shoot. If they get the health from their bigs, they could be a problem. I mean, we haven't talked about Andre Drummond. Yeah, he's been in the game a long time. That's a dude that is going to get you 8-9 rebounds just by stepping on the court. So, I mean, boy, wouldn't the Warriors look good with a little bit of that size? And we're going to see it tonight in Philly, where when they have size, it's going to be a problem.
Well, with that said, what are we doing with our chicken tonight? Let's take a look at the 4 starting lineup tonight for the Golden State Warriors, and it'll be the 11th different first 5 for the Dubs this season. That is the 5th most in the NBA. Brandon Pajemski, Moses Moody, Will Richard, Draymond Green, and Uncle Al Horford.
Hey, Big Al!
First start as a member of the Golden State Warriors, and it comes against his former team, the Philadelphia 76ers.
I feel like you've been calling this for a while, Bonte.
I have. Kara Burke, she's in there. She's watching. We got a little bet. I won't reveal. We're always betting around here. I don't know why.
I hope the FBI's not watching.
I hope not, man. I don't know. Why you have you say that?
Hey, I'm just a part-time.
Hey, man. Not real money, folks. Not real money, okay? All right. The rotation.
Yes.
You know, Jonathan Kuminga the other day didn't play a second in the fourth quarter. Seth Curry was cooking. Moses Moody only played 15 minutes. It feels like Steve Kerr's trying to find the right combination. Now you add in DeAnthony Melton, who's going to play about 20 minutes tonight. It feels like Steve Kerr, maybe this could be the tipping point for him on his East Coast road trip to say, you know what? This is what I'm going with in the future.
Absolutely, Bonte. Right now, the Warriors have gone into flux with Steph out of the lineup. That rotation has been, it's been helter-skelter. Guys are playing out of position. Guys who are supposed to be spot-up shooters are trying to create plays. Guys are trying to drive into the lane when they're not ball handlers. And that's what I've seen so far. That's what happens when you don't have Steph in the lineup, your playmaker. So right now, with DeAnthony Melton coming in, I predict that the Warriors are going to go, guys like Moses Moody is going to get back to being a shot maker. Jonathan Kuminga can be a slasher. Paz can be a combo guard and be that 2 guard. Yep. And DeAnthony Melton just fits right in as the point guard, comes into this game and can get guys situated with that veteran leadership.
I said earlier, for me, Melton, ball handling is the most important thing because we know for the Warriors, turnovers is their big issue. The more turnovers they have, the worse they are defensively. Obviously, the worse they are offensively. So it's going to help Moody. It's going to help Podziemski. And it's also going to help Jonathan Kuminga. Kuminga's only played, 15 games this season. He's averaging over 2.5 turnovers per game. The less Jonathan Kuminga has to worry about handling the ball, the more Jonathan Kuminga can focus on the things that Jonathan Kuminga can do, and only Kuminga can do, which is use his side or uses athleticism mostly and wreak havoc around the paint and around the bucket. But it's about doing things to where Steve Kerr cannot or should not take you off the floor. And I think about Steph Curry, his off-ball movement. He was setting screens. He was good with dribble handoffs. He wasn't just hoisting up threes, although you would think that's what a Curry would do. Yeah, the threes came, but he was getting some mid-range. He got a layup, doing all of the little things, cutting and moving, not turning the ball over, not over-dribbling, not hunting for certain shots. All of those things keep you on the court, and that's what Steve Kerr is looking for tonight and for the rest of this road trip.
And the good thing is we got another Curry in the lineup now. Seth Curry came into the game last game, 14 points. He got off to a great heater. Obviously, as a guy who's going to demand attention from the Philadelphia 76ers defense, what I want to see is the Warriors get into the game early, offensively, defensively. I think it's going to help your defense if you take care of the ball. I talked about turnovers, but also getting back in transition. This is a team, the Philadelphia 76ers, that want to run off of steals. So if you take care of the ball, if you get back in transition, you can really get some stops and run your offense as well. So that could be an offense generator as well.
How difficult is it, though, when you don't know what your minutes are going to look like, when it fluctuates on a game-by-game basis, to get into a rhythm to have a good role on the team?
It's tough when you don't have your identity yet. And what you've seen so far is guys trying to play different styles of basketball. Hasn't helped that the Warriors have had injuries so far. Al Horford's in and out. Jimmy's been in and out. Steph now is in and out. And these are your stars that you're building around, those veterans. So as the Warriors start to get healthy, it's good that Seth and DeAnthony Melton are now in the lineup. As they start to get healthy, those identities and those roles are going to get more defined.
It's funny, though. We always talk about getting into a rhythm, and that means getting into an offensive rhythm. And I understand that. But how about getting into a rhythm rebounding? How about getting into a rhythm defensively? How about getting into a rhythm passing the ball and moving and setting screens and doing all those little things that eventually add into you being able to get going offensively?
No, it's a good point here. As we take a look at this graphic, the most bench points in the league, the most bench minutes per game, and the Warriors are up there. They want to be strength in numbers. They want to go too deep at every single position. But here's what Steve Kerr earlier had to say about 2 guys coming off the bench tonight, DeAnthony Melton and Jonathan Kuminga.
It's been a long time since he's played in an NBA game, so this is about getting his feet wet, finding a comfort zone out on the floor. I mean, you can scrimmage all you want, but it's not like being in an NBA game. So I'm excited to get him back. He's a hell of a player, and he's worked really hard in his rehab to get himself back to this point. So really happy for him and excited to see him play tonight.
If JK is going to play tonight, how much of a focal point does he need to be on offense without Jimmy, without Steph?
He doesn't need to be a focal point on offense. We need to execute as a team. You saw the other night we were without Jimmy, and I think we scored 68 in the second half by playing with pace and energy. The focal point on offense was actually Pat Spencer, high pick and roll, and everybody fed off of that. And but we had good spacing, and the ball moved, and we took care of it. So it's always it's about our team. It's about our execution. It's not about any one guy.
Boy, Quentin Grimes, we have not forgotten about his career night against the Dubs last season, but was it just a coincidence? We're starting to uncover some conspiracies around these parts.